Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and what you're looking at right now is CoinMarketCap. We've had a pullback in not major pullback, but we've had a pullback in just about everything. You'll see XRP is down 8.21%. For me, this is nothing but a buying opportunity here. In fact, if I had to pick, this is something I have said before several times probably, but it's worth reminding. If you look at every single digital asset on this list, there's only one that has a fake SEC lawsuit over the top of it. There's only one. If you look at, and that's just looking at digital assets, XRP is to me the most undervalued digital assets that's been held down, put the thumb of Gary Gensler falsely, and everybody knows it's a farce. And to me, that's why I always talk about Ripple private equity on Link2. Same thing, in my opinion, most undervalued private equity blockchain related company on the planet Earth, because it's being suppressed by this SEC lawsuit. So if you just look at history, when the SEC lawsuit's over, what happens? I'm just telling you, this is my thought patterns. This is the reason that I've invested in Ripple private equity, and the reason I continue to invest in XRP, the digital asset. Because the SEC's wrong. We all know they're wrong. They know they're wrong. And so this thing is settled at some point. This thing's going to be over. And the people that did not recognize how undervalued these things were, and that's why I'm always talking about Link2, one of my sponsors, linqto.com. Go check it out. It's for accredited investors. Now, the moon, my understanding of the moon, and the reason I know this is because the moon is somebody that my dad, the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel, watches a lot on YouTube. And so I know he's a Bitcoin, Ethereum guy, primarily a Bitcoin maxi type. So when you see a guy, and he's got, look here, 735,000 followers, when you see, and he's a chart guy. When you see a guy like that put XRP to $10, you have to pay attention, folks, because my dad's always going on about how smart this guy is. So anyway, moving along. Now, this was interesting from James Rule right here. James Rule XRP. He had put this out about see if you can guess what I just dropped. I was sitting, a lot of times I'm holding things while I'm doing this show because I'm kind of nervous like that. It's like a nervous habit. So I'm like right now I've got a golf ball in my hand. Here, you can hear it. That's a golf ball. And I don't even play golf. I don't even know how it ended up in my office. But I just dropped a screwdriver just now. I was sitting here flipping it while I'm doing the show. Anyway, so James Rule had put this out, the Great Reset Watch. I wanted to play you a little clip of this. This is from Breitbart. Listen to this. If I can get it to play from about the 32-second mark. Here we go.
Really pleased to be back. Cash is going to go by the wayside. Am I wrong about this? And if I'm not, what does that mean for all of us?
You're absolutely right. In fact, if governments around the world could completely remove coins and paper currencies from the markets today, they absolutely would. And the motivation is really simple. Most of the cash transactions that take place, governments can't see, they can't track. They have to trust that a business is going to pay taxes on those transactions. They have to trust that somebody that might sell their car in cash is going to report the sale and pay tax on that transaction. But so many of these transactions go unreported. And so there is a very material motivation for governments to be able to see, analyze, track, and tax every transaction. And so the pandemic was actually a great catalyst to moving towards contactless transactions. Many businesses, I'm sure you saw this, Alex, but they wouldn't accept cash. Everything had to be on a credit card. Businesses moved to contactless machines where you could just scan your phone or your credit card, and the transaction happens immediately. And so there was a major push to make these things not only simple to use, but also in many cases required to use. But that's literally just the very first step. The next step is to literally move to a digital version of the US dollar. Some people have referred to this as something like the Fed coin, where we use technology, specifically blockchain technology, to create a digital version of the US dollar, and that every citizen of the US or China or Australia or the UK has a digital wallet on their smartphone, and they transact through that wallet. And of course, the incentive for doing that is that the government can track every single transaction. It can see how every dollar is spent, and it can tax every single transaction. So they are deeply motivated, the IRS, the government.
Well, I hope, look, that's what I've thought this was about from the very beginning, is complete control. They could push a button to airdrop you money. Let's say the government will be able to say, okay, we're going to give you a stimulus check of $200 in Fed coin, but if you don't spend it on this, or this, then we're going to pull the money back in within 30 days. And so you can see, and then let's say they want to impose negative interest rates or tax you or whatever they want to do. That's what this is about. Make no mistake about that. So I just wanted you to see that. Look, this is like anything. It can be used for good or for evil. And we have to hope that we're not going down an evil road. I hope we're going down a good road. Now, this is great right here because they call the Ethereum ICO and IPO right out of the gate. And Vitalik Buterin is going to be on this that this guy's showing. Let's see. This is Joel Dietz, founding member of Ethereum, and this is from Francisco here. I'm making sure there's nothing weird there that you don't need to see. Right here, watch.
And I'm going to give basically a high-level presentation of what Ethereum is as a technology, and then kind of organizationally how it is, including this IPO. And then I'm going to turn it over to Vitalik, who will answer sort of technical questions. So he's available, he's in Toronto on Skype. He's kind of waiting for us right now.
Okay. Joseph Lubin told us several times that was not an IPO because they couldn't use that word. If they used that language, the SEC might get upset.
So the legal structure right now is a little bit like up in the air, but it's going to have a few different non-profits who are established in different parts of the world. I think right now there's a Canadian one, and a Swiss one, and one in Panama, and I don't know when the U.S. entity is going to get going, but here I'm going to give you some details on how that's working. So originally the idea was that it was going to start February 1st, and basically the legal infrastructure for how to do this legally is very up in the air still, or at least it hasn't been pinned down. And originally they were going to do it in Canada, and then they realized that Swiss law accommodates it better because it can be called a currency sale, which the Swiss accommodate better, and then they can receive that and have a legally operating nonprofit and still receive these funds in this kind of in this sort of broadly distributed way. So that is still something that I don't know if there's a final word yet on, but basically the model is that.
Okay. And then here's the last clip of that.
Okay, no, so basically the way this works, it's really interesting. If you look at kind of how venture capital works, how fundraising works, is that you take, Bitcoin and you send it to a certain Exodus address, is what it's called. and then basically it's received by the people who have that, and then they issue you on the basis of the Bitcoin you contributed a certain number of, in this case, Ether. So there's a certain conversion ratio that happens where you get for your Bitcoin the new currency units. And then the hope, obviously, is that your Bitcoin that you contributed is used for funding the development of that project, like any kind of startup situation, except that it's a direct kind of user to organization participation instead of all these middle layers and angels and VCs and all that sort of thing. So it's almost like crowd equity fundraising, if people are like familiar with that term.
He's literally calling it a security.
And then, obviously you're hoping.
Okay. Then Seiko Carmona had sent me Santiago Velez's reaction to this, and this guy is really sharp, so I just wanted to show you what his thoughts were. He says, yikes, does not look good. At face, Ethereum ICO looks to have been an unregistered security offering. It may be decentralized now, but the Hinman speech is not law, just individual opinion. It's not concerned trolling FUD to point out how damaging this is for building on Ethereum. And then this lady had said, so you're in view, the only place for safe developers is to build on Bitcoin. He says, no, not at all. I apologize if I gave that impression. I'm simply pointing out there is a large brand like a Nike or an Uber or something like that. I would be very concerned building applications on top of a platform with a historical pedigree that carries huge regulatory risks. And it does. And look, I'll say it again. I don't want to point out all the things about Ethereum. If you remember, this all started when Ripple started pointing to Ethereum and trying to find out what the differences were in their lawsuit. So I took that, and some of us out here took that and said, well, let's take a closer look at Ethereum. And before we knew it, we had uncovered all kinds of conflicts of interest and all kinds of problems between the SEC and Ethereum and the way this was done. And we have the timeline, and we can name the names, and everybody knows it. And we're on the right side here. And so that's where they have put us. Now, in this, Vitalik Buterin gets in on this little talk.
Can you give an update on the IPO offering you guys are doing?
Did she say IPO offering you guys are doing? Listen.
Can you give an update on the IPO offering you guys are doing? And is there going to be a maximum cap? When do you think you'll...
Can we elaborate on what, sorry?
The fundraiser.
Yes, so the fundraiser, right. So we are thinking of starting that at some points in March. At this point, basically, we are looking at some our legal issues. We are setting the legal structure up in Switzerland. It's right now, basically the questions are exactly how long it'll take. And of course, there's the question whether or not we can allow a US people to participate from the US. So a lot of companies outside the US have obviously made the decision to block the US, and there are a lot of US laws that make a compelling reason to do that. But things are looking vaguely positive that we actually might.
Okay, I'm not going to play the rest of that, but I did want you to play this, because here Vitalik Buterin, we already saw Joseph Lubin say you'll be able to buy anonymous, but Vitalik Buterin says it here. Listen.
Yeah, so we're thinking of reducing the inflation rate, possibly doing things to the pre-lines and maybe inflation too, to basically give the people participating in the fundraiser or the pre-sale a larger share of the more money they put in.
What about
what about what?
the cap?
The cap, we're still thinking about that. There might be a cap, there might not be a cap. It's all a matter of whether or not we can come up with a plan of what we can do with the various levels of money.
Will you not be able to participate in the fundraising anonymously?
Oh yes, you will be able to participate in the fundraising anonymously. I mean, it's Bitcoin.
Right. So
Yeah,
you can
Yeah, just like tell your funds through blockchain.info.
So they were helping buyers, purchasers be anonymous. That was the whole intent of the thing. This looks like yet another whistleblower alert that I need to do. Now, let me show you. This is from October. I found this one today, October 22nd, 2018. Joseph Lubin of Consensus, the only man in crypto who feels like there's plenty of clarity.
The smaller jurisdictions and some of the bigger jurisdictions, like the United States, regulators are getting a very good understanding of the value of the technology. They're applying the laws as they have been doing for decades and clarifying exactly what could be a consumer utility token and not a security, and what needs to be an investor token.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir, but can we establish first of all that you do believe that digital currencies do need to be regulated? They are not self-regulating.
So I think there will be lots of self-regulatory activity in our space. We at our company Consensus don't focus very much on cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. Ether's, it has some characteristics of cryptocurrency, but it's really a crypto fuel or a crypto commodity. And so the Ethereum platform is a decentralized application platform. There are many other blockchain-based or decentralized protocols and platforms, and none of those will need to be regulated. One doesn't regulate technologies, one regulates the use of the technology. So trying to regulate, say, a MySQL database or an Oracle database doesn't make sense. One regulates the different uses that are built-in software on those kinds of data.
So he doesn't think they need to be regulated. John Deaton threw this out there, I guess today. Gary Gensler ordered an independent investigation into the conflicts of interest related to the Ethereum, FreePass, and Ripple XRP lawsuit. If it concludes no wrongdoing, you helped build public trust in the agency. If it finds wrongdoing, you can achieve justice and trust. John, I couldn't have said it any better myself. Now, Oracle M sent me this. Will quantum computers burst the Bitcoin boom? Well, I've said for a long time on this channel, even though quantum computing is a dirty word, you're not supposed to be allowed to say it. I said a long time ago, I thought that that's what this was all about, is quantum computers were probably closer to being ready to roll than anybody thought, and that at some point they'd come out of nowhere and Bitcoin and some of this proof of work stuff would become very dangerous. That's kind of what my feeling has always been. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. I think quantum computers might be a lot closer